All rise. We will wait. Please be seated.
Witness, welcome back. We are in open session and Mr. Ken will continue his cross-examination. Mr. Ken?
Mr. President, Your Honours, I'm grateful. Before I recommence, Your Honour, there was a newspaper that I put to the witness that was at tab 38, Ken-D09-0035-0116. I'd ask for that to be marked for identification, please.
Will be marked for identification.
I'm grateful. Mr. Witness.
The public document KEN D09-0035-0116 will bear the number MFI T D09-00292.
I'm grateful. Witness, when you were interviewed by the prosecution in October of 2000 and August of 2010, you requested and were given a set of the audio recordings of those interviews. Is that right?
In October.
In August of 2010. Your Honour, I'm looking at tab 67. Fence binder, tab 67. Ken OTP-0037-0104. Witness, do you remember signing a receipt from the Office of the Prosecution acknowledging receipt of 25 audio tapes? Do you remember that or not?
So, is that, if I answer that, is that not to show that, will show the public that I may have such a things?
A witness?
Witness, you can answer the question.
Yes, I have. Yes.
I'm grateful for that. And, Your Honour, I refer to tab 154 of the second binder. Witness, did you, in fact, tell the prosecution, and Your Honour, that tab is Ken-OTP-0142-0119. Did you tell the prosecution on the 9th of September of 2013? Well, Your Honour, perhaps we can go to private session for a moment.
Indeed. Private session.
We are back in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Exhibit, the document at tab 67. It comes from the Office of the Prosecution, 000104, and also exhibit the document at tab.
Mr. Garcia.
Ken OTP-0142-0119. I'm grateful.
Your Honour, exhibiting these documents, the proposition has been put to the witness. One of them is an investigator's report. That's the tab 154. And of receipt, if obviously, and that's tab 67. If the witness confirms 67, I have no problem with that one. The investigator's report, I believe that the proposition should simply be put to the witness. It's not the witness who that investigator's report, and I think our practice has been with other investigators' report to simply MFI them.
Has that been the practice in relation to investigators' report?
There might have been some exceptions that investigators report, since that they don't origin from the witness himself. He's not able to confirm anything that's written in them. He's not the author of the investigator's report. I think we should MFI it. The other document, the receipt, he signed it, so he can confirm having signed it, and I think then it would be appropriate to put it in as an exhibit.
Mr. President, the court record, of course, speaks for itself. It's my recollection on occasion. Your Honours, these are documents coming not from the defence but from the prosecution's office. There's no question about its authenticity. It's part of. Your Honour, the weight, if any of these documents will be given will be decided by the bench in due course, but we say these are matters that can properly be exhibited at this stage.
At tab 67, you might as well show the witness the document, since you showed him.
Yes, of course.
The one at tab
Indeed.
150.
With the court officer's assistance, if Ken-OTP, but not for the public outside, it has a signature, Ken-OTP-0037-0104. If that could be put on the monitor of the witness, please. Witness, can you see that that document?
Yes, I can remember, because this is original one, because they remain with original one.
And is that your signature, sir?
It is.
Yes, I'm grateful.
The two be admitted as the next in the Ruto defense. Mr. Ken, before we proceed, an oversight there. Ms. Bassman, I should have called on you first. My apology.
We have no objection.
Let me.
One second, please. The two documents as the next in the Ruto defense exhibits.
The document KEN OTP 000104 will bear the number EVD T 0293, and the document KEN OTP 0142 0119 will bear the number EVD T D09 0029. Documents are confidential.
Thank you. Witness, you were about to say something. Remember, we're in open session. We have admitted these documents. You should wait for Mr. Ken to ask you questions. And if there's something you want to say about these documents, let's wait to see if would give you the opportunity to say those things. If not, before he moves on, remind me, or I'll try to remember to get back to you to see if there's more you need to say. Do you understand?
Mr. President, if it helps, I'm intending to leave that matter and move to something new.
You're done?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, right.
With your leave.
Then I can
Say what?
clarify what exactly. Here is the position where they say I am receiving original, I'm giving out answers from prosecution. These things is when I was the hand of my interview. So there was two which was being met, and I accept that the original steps were with the prosecution, and I was given a copies, which I have until then. Maybe some perception that I was to hand over some document later is not the right one. The two steps were being taken at the same time. So I take the copies after being asked if I said I could have the copies. And the original one, I said that the prosecution have them at the end of my interview.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to another issue, but you'll recall, witness, before lunch we went through some newspapers and other reports regarding killings of AP officers in Nyanza and tension and problems in other parts of Kenya of December. And it's right, is it not, that in Eldoret nobody was killed in December 2007. That's right, is it not?
On 26th of December, yes, I can confirm nobody was killed, but there was blockage of roads, which is also an illegal thing.
Yes. Witness, none of us want to detain you necessary, and one way of making it as efficient as possible is just try your best to focus on the question that I put rather than other issues, because the court has heard the evidence of blockage in due course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, witness, you testified on Thursday of last week regarding an incident on the 26th of December 2007 at the police station in Eldoret. Do you recall that?
I recall.
And you said, or somebody called Farouk Kibet with some councillors who had been out and about since 10 a.m. On that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in fact, those councillors were already at the Eldoret police station at the time. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've given evidence that you saw Mr. Farouk Kibet speak. You remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after he spoke, you then saw Mr. William Ruto and Henry Koske. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, you give evidence about a demonstration at the police station. You remember that?
Yes.
And you say that a time comes when Mr. William Ruto addresses the crowd. You recall that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And he tells people to be patient, to calm down. Do you recall that?
I recall.
In fact, are you aware that Mr. William Ruto and Mr. Henry Koske went inside the police station and with the OCPD before coming out to the crowd and saying, "There's nothing here, calm down"? Do you remember that?
I remember.
And when the William Ruto and Henry Koske said this, you also said on Friday that the people in the crowd were still not convinced. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And indeed, you gave evidence that after that, despite the calming words of Mr. William Ruto, a Kikuyu ladies' Safaricom booth was pushed down. You remember speaking about that issue?
Yes.
Because the crowd was angry. Is that right? The crowd was angry, it was annoyed.
Yes, they are already inside it. Yeah.
They didn't believe. They believed that there was rigging going on. Is that right?
That is, you are shortening what I believe. But if I put it in short, I can say, okay, they were angry after being inside. Yes.
Yes. Now, after Mr. William Ruto told the crowd to be patient and calm down, the crowd not convinced, moved off towards the Brookside dairy. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you gave evidence about a Nissan Patrol being at the police station. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I accept there was a Nissan Patrol there at the Brookside station. But casting your mind back, I know it's 7 years, do you recall, in fact, that Mr. William Ruto was in a green Range Rover? Could that be right?
No.
You see the OCPD and other Kikuyus, other members of the Kikuyu community at Eldoret Police Station. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
And you also see Kikuyus, members of the Kikuyu community at Sosiani Bridge. Is that right?
There were so many people. That's why I say I cannot remember the ethnicity.
Well, if it helps you, at page 46 of the transcript on Friday, in answer to a very direct question from the prosecution, you confirmed that Kikuyus were there at Sosiani Bridge. Does that help refresh your memory? There were Kikuyus there. Is that right?
Yes, I can confirm that.
And the OCPD was also there. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I put it to you, if you could cast your mind back 7 years, that in fact what happened is the crowd being discontent with the news that there was no evidence of rigging at the police station went on to Brookside Dairy, and Mr. William Ruto and the OCPD followed the crowd but stopped at Sosiani Bridge. Are you with me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what I'm putting to you is, in fact, they stopped at Sosiani Bridge, and they didn't actually, neither the OCPD nor Mr. William Ruto went up to Brookside. Could that be right?
No.
And maybe, witness, that's why, when you answered the prosecution about what were the MPs doing up at Brookside, you say at page 26, they were just standing around doing nothing. In fact, you don't have a recollection of Mr. William Ruto up at Brookside at all, do you?
What I already said is what I can remember, Your Honor.
So, a point comes anyway, where you stop at Sosiani Bridge and you say Mr. William Ruto is opposite Shakers, a restaurant called, or hotel called Shakers. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in fact, you tell the court that you are 2 meters from Sosiani Bridge. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're on the side of Sosiani Bridge, closer to Brookside. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long is that bridge? Sosiani Bridge. How many meters?
Yeah, maybe 6 or so meters.
So 6 or so meters, and you're 2 meters away from it. Now, the distance from the bridge to Shakers is about 50 to 60 meters. Is that right?
50 to 60.
How far is it from Shakers restaurant to the bridge?
I'm not aware about the meters, but I didn't measure. It's not far. It's just distance, I think, until the end of the building, or not even the end of the building.
The distance from Shakers to the bridge
yes.
is how far? If you look at, can you use the courtroom as a guide? Is it as long as this courtroom, or much shorter than the courtroom?
Maybe this longer that way to this side.
So the length of the courtroom?
Maybe, yes. But I'm not confirming exactly.
Right. And you say that from Mr. William Ruto, the furthest member of that group is 500 meters away. Do you remember telling that to the court on Friday?
The farthest member.
I beg your pardon?
The farthest member or what?
Yes, the furthest person from the group, you said, is 500 meters away.
Yes, if I can approximately, but I cannot confirm it's 500 meters. I think so, yeah, that direction.
So there are people behind you? That's right, isn't it?
There were people behind me, but not so many, but ahead towards Lawrence Town.
And people to the side of you? That's right, isn't it?
Yes, there are.
Many people in front of you?
Yes, of course, Your Honor.
A lot of noise?
Yes, there was.
And it's then you say, when you're by the bridge, that you hear the account you gave the court of what Mr. William Ruto says, and the response, Othaya. Is that right?
That is.
Right. Now, witness, I want to play a video, and I'll ask you some questions. Your Honor, the video is Ken D09-0018-0098. That's at track 4, and the transcript is at tab 40.
Before you do that, we need to make an effort to reflect the time, the measurement estimated by the witness. I know it may be difficult, and the last time I tried, I was thinking feet and talking meters last time. Now, the law on the courtroom, the reason is, if this goes on appeal, whoever is dealing with the thing needs to be able to visualize what we're talking about.
Your Honors, if it may help the court, I know that we inquired as to the dimensions of the court. Senior trial attorney, Mr. Steinberg, informs me that it was 18.8 meters. That's the information we got about the length of this courtroom, so that can assist the court.
Mr. President, I'm happy to accept that. Perhaps, because it may be useful going forward, if the prosecution could be so kind as to obtain in due course something from the registrar dealing with the dimensions, and we can make a stipulation, and that can be useful in future.
Yes, it will be.
We have that information, Your Honor, and we can put it on the record once again, if need be.
Yes. Discuss it both sides and then let us know what the registrar says. Mr. Ken, please proceed.
And Mr. President, from the transcripts at tab 40, Ken D09-0018-0129. It needn't be put on the screen just yet. And the bit I'm going to play is at Ken D09-0018-0132. From under timestamp 1029. Round about there. But if you can just be played at the moment, please.
Hii serikali ni ya matajiri. Atijuzi ama vijana. Kibaki anaenda kwa ranch ambaye mtu analipa shilingi milioni 1. Ndugu zangu wa Kenya, matajiri wanakusanyana, wakusanye pesa, kazi iendelee, watukalie. Hiyo ndio mnataka. Hadi wamekutana matajiri wanalipa sahani moja ya chakula milioni 1. Ili kazi iendelee, watukalie, wao wazidi
That's enough. And before I ask you some question, witness, let me just read from 0132, line 104. William Ruto, and I quote, "We will tell him, be defeated. The other day, so that you really know that this is a government of the rich, or maybe it was yesterday, Kibaki was going for lunch, where one person would pay 1 million shillings. My fellow Kenyans, rich people are coming together to collect money so that they can oppress us. Is that what you want?" Crowd, no. William Ruto, they are meeting as the rich, paying 1 million shillings for a plate of food so that work continues. Kazi Indele, in brackets, IENDELLE, as they oppress us. They continue with 1 million plate of food while we stay without lunch and have air burgers. Do you agree with that? Mr. Kibaki should just pack his belongings and go back home. Crowd, applause. William Ruto, he packs his bags and goes where? Crowd, Othaya. William Ruto, he goes where? Crowd, Othaya. William Ruto, now, if you, as a resident of Eldoret, maybe you see a picture or two of Kibaki, let me talk to these people who are followers of Kibaki. If someone here is owned by Mr. Kibaki, better be quick. You find him so he pays you quickly, because after the 27th, his address will change and will be P.O. Box, Crowd, Othaya. Now, where will you get him? Are we together? End quote. And that can be taken off the screen, please. Your Honour, as a correction to the transcript at line 16, it is at page 87 of the real time. It is someone here is owed, not owned. And Your Honour, I played for the record timestamp 10:30, 10 minutes and 30 seconds until 12 minutes and 10 seconds. A witness, do you recognise those words?
I can recognize, but I don't know if it was really the same meeting.
Watching that video, seeing the crowd being addressed by William Ruto, and the response coming, Othaya, Othaya, is that the incident, in fact, that you are narrating to the court?
I don't think if it's that one. And if it's that one, I cannot remember if it's that the same message.
See, I put it to you, witness.
Mr. Ken, do we have the verification of the translation of the transcript? We know that, is there a transcript? We have, is a translation. You remember how we did it with the Sang examination and also to an extent with the prosecution?
Yes. Mr. President, we have the translation. Normally there's an attestation at the end. Witness, if you could help us with the court's leave. What I've read, is that an accurate translation of what you heard on the video?
It is not. Maybe he repeated it again after some times, but that one is not exactly. That's what...
Okay, we can play it again.
Let's play it again.
Okay,
witness, listen carefully. Listen carefully to what is being said on screen, what the audio-visual material is saying, and later on Mr. Ken would read back the translation, and then you tell us whether that is what is being said.
Mr. President, can I just clarify? Is the witness saying that the translation isn't the same as what he heard on the screen, or that what he heard on the screen is not the same as what he narrated as taking place in the video?
Never mind that. Let's just play the thing again.
Okay,
thanks.
Tunamwamini, tunamwambia ashindwe. Sasa juzi, ili kweli mjue hii serikali ni ya matajiri. Ati juzi ama ni jana. ati Kibaki anaenda kwa lunch ambaye mtu analipa shilingi milioni 1. Ndugu zangu wa Kenya, ndugu zangu wa Kenya, matajiri wanakusanyana wakusanye pesa, kazi iendelee, watukalie. Hiyo ndio mnataka? Hadi wamekutana matajiri wanalipa sahani moja ya chakula milioni 1. Ili kazi iendelee, watukalie, wao wazidi kuendelea na sahani ya chakula ya milioni 1, sisi tunakaa bila lunch, tunakula airport. Hiyo mtakulaje? Huyu Kibaki bwana afunge virago aende. Afunge virago aende wapi? Aende wapi? Aende wapi? Sasa kama wewe mtu ya Eldoret, pengine nimeona picha ya Kibaki hapa mbili sana. Wacha mimi niambie hawa watu ambao ni wafuasi wa Kibaki. Kama mtu hapa unamdai bwana Kibaki, fanya haraka haraka. Ukaze yeye akulipe haraka. Sababu baada ya tarehe 27 anwani yake itabadilika, itakuwa PO Box. Sasa utamtoa wapi? Tuko pamoja?
Now, witness, I can read you the relevant portion again, and if you could please assist the court. The section I read in English, I want you to please inform their honours if that's an accurate translation of what you have just heard Mr. Ruto say on the video. And I'm starting at line, at line 108. Mr. William Ruto, and I quote, "They are meeting as the rich pay 1 million shillings for a plate of food so that work continues, bracket, Kazi in Delhi, close brackets, as they oppress us. They continue with a 1 million plate of food while we stay out for lunch and have air burgers. Do you agree with that? Mr. Kibaki should just pack his belongings and go back home." Crowd applause. William Ruto, he packs his bags and goes where? Crowd Othaya. He goes where? Crowd Othaya. William Ruto, now if you are, as a resident of Eldoret, maybe you see a picture or two of Kibaki. Let me tell these people, let me talk to these people who are followers of Kibaki. If someone here is owned by Mr. Kibaki, better be quick.
Owed. You said owned.
I beg your pardon. If someone here is owed by Mr. Kibaki, better be quick. You find him so that he pays you quickly. Because after the 27th, his address will change and will be P.O. Box, Crowd, Othaya, close brackets. Witness, is that an accurate translation?
It is.
Great. And that can be taken off the screen, please. Witness, now, having this played to you twice, are these words the words you say Mr. William Ruto spoke on the 26th of December?
The Odaya is there, he said about Odaya, but exactly what is not. I don't think it is the same.
But could it be correct, witness? And as I said, it's 7 years ago. But is it the case, in fact, that what Mr. Ruto was saying is where should Mr. Kibaki go? And the response is Othaya. In fact, that's what you heard on the 26th of December, if anything was said at all. Could that be right? Is that possible?
Not possible, because what I heard was exactly what I said yet on Friday. That's why I'm saying maybe the side which was talking, we didn't take any video in that side. But what I heard is Odaya. Yeah.
See this video.
One pickup and go to one.
Yes. See this video. You see Mr. Ruto standing on a white-coloured Range Rover. Did you see that or not?
I can see that.
Yes. And in fact, that video is taken from the November, 23rd of November 2007. But, witness, I showed it to you because Mr. Ruto has never in his life said Kikuyus go to Othaya. And that's why I was giving you an opportunity to carefully search your memory and to say whether or not, if anything was said at all, it was where should Kibaki go, where should Mr. Kibaki go, and that response was Athaya.
But I'm talking about 26. Yeah. That's why I'm saying what the wording of that word is different.
Witness, Your Honour, we can move on. Witness, you've said already that in that group were certain human rights monitors. Is that right? Human rights activists.
Yes, Your Honour.
And there were journalists as well. Is that right?
Cannot be, but because that particular day or were not published in the media, they cannot be. Eldoret is full of media. They cannot be without media people. Yes.
And if something had taken place, you would expect it to be published in the newspapers. Is that right?
Maybe there was a lot of words, but like Brookside was put. If I can still recall, but those of police stations and the Brookside, the bridge, I can't see if when I ever publish in any paper.
Your Honour, I will seek to put to the witness at tab 37 of the binder 1.
Are you moving away from the video and the transcript? Or are you still returning to it?
Your Honour, I will leave it, except I would seek to MFI the document and the transcript, the video and the transcript. But otherwise, I'm not going to put further questions.
Well, why don't you do that now?
Your Honour, the video Ken D09-0018-0098. Your Honour, it's already in evidence, so perhaps I don't need to.
It is already in evidence. The video and the transcript.
Yes, I'm grateful to Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you.
Your Honour, going to tab 37, and I'd ask that the following newspaper be put on the screen: Ken-D09-0035-0115. It's a Daily Nation page of the Daily Nation, dated Thursday, December the 27th, 2007, so the day after the alleged incident. And if that could be put on the screen, please.
Now, we've seen this before. I don't know if you're going to refer to the same news story, but if this were in evidence, it's already in evidence, you need to say it up front so we don't...
Mr. President, it's not in evidence as yet.
It isn't yet.
No.
Okay.
So if that could be put on the screen. And witness, if you can go to the second part, if it could be scrolled down, please, to the second story. Rigging fears ignite violence in towns as AP stage sit-in against new gun order. And you'll see, witness, at the bottom of the first column, well, it's, in fact, from the top, it says, and I quote, "A vehicle transporting election materials was yesterday reduced, set on fire in Eldoret town. The half-ton pickup carrying ballot boxes, papers and other material for today's general election was from Chepkorio in Eldoret South constituency and was heading to Kaptumbe polling centre in the same area." And at the bottom of that column, it talks about the relevant incident that you've been speaking about, witness. Quote, "Earlier, hundreds of residents stormed the police station after word went round that a Molo Line bus had been impounded with the papers. ODM Chairman Henry Koske and Pentagon member William Ruto called for calm but warned the government not to attempt any rigging." End quote. Witness, you've read that?
Yes, sir.
And did you see this in the newspapers at the time?
I object, Your Honour. I object. I understand that this has been a manner of cross-examining certain witnesses to put a newspaper article into, and I think the argument underlying this is the fact that since it wasn't reported in the newspaper article, then it didn't happen. And this is the type of questions that have been put to some witnesses. I think that's inappropriate. This is a subject matter for argumentation. If the defense wants to put in this newspaper through a bar table motion and argue that because it wasn't this incident that the witness reported wasn't reported on, then it didn't happen, and then the credibility of the witness is not, that the witness is not credible on this matter, that's another point. I don't see how it is helpful to ask the witness to confirm what we can all read, the fact that it wasn't or it was reported in this newspaper article. I don't see how that's helpful at all for the, and I don't see how the witness can answer questions on this matter. It's based on the premise that all the incidents on the 26th of December, including what Mr. Ruto would have said at Sociani River, would have been publicized in the newspaper at the time. So I don't think it's helpful in any which way to ask the witness questions on what is in the newspaper article or to draw any inferences from it.
Value, 1 second. Mr. Ken, Mr. Garcia, the question from Mr. Ken was, and do you see this in the newspapers at the time? Mr. Ken, what's your...
Well, Mr. President, I was trying to untangle the objection. There's nothing remarkable about the question I put forward, and there's simply no merit in what my learned friend has.
Objection overruled. Proceed.
Witness, did you read this report in the newspapers on the 27th of December?
Maybe I read it, but exactly what was Asaf said. Yes, it is there when you see the paper. Maybe I didn't read, or I read it a long time ago, but I was reporting what happened on 26th in my testimony. And that is what I said earlier, even last week. But the way the story is being written here, like the car was burned, I said it was burned the same day on 26th. That is under my testimony, by the same rioting group, which was Ruto and his group was with them during the day.
Yes, witness. What we're saying here is that this newspaper is reporting the previous day's events. So it's the 27th of December newspaper reporting the incident of the 26th, and the reporters from the Nation state that Henry Koske and Pentagon member William Ruto called for calm. That's right, isn't it?
After confirming at earliest police station, that is what they said. And that is what is even in my testimony.
And going to tab 34. Your Honour, that last document is D09-0035-0115. And Your Honour, I'd ask that it be exhibited.
Mr. Garcia?
I don't see the witness having confirmed reading this article at the time, Your Honour, in the evidence. So we object.
Ms. Bousman?
We have no objection.
The document is admitted as the next in the Ruto defense exhibit.
Most grateful.
The public document KEN D09-0035-0115 will bear the number EVD T D09-00295.
Scan, please proceed.
I apologise, the microphone wasn't activated. Mr. President, if with your leave we could go into private session for 2 minutes. That'd be great.
Private session.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Grateful. And the assistance of the court officer, I'd ask that the photograph at tab 67 be put on the screen. It's a public document. Ken-D09-0043-0531. Tab 66, I apologize.
Tab 66.
Tab 66.
And you say it's a public document?
Yes, it's a photograph. Ken D09-0043.
Public or private document?
Public. Your Honour, the person has been spoken to, and this can be done publicly.
Proceed.
Witness, you know that person, do you?
Yeah, I may know him, but it seems the face is not as I know.
Is that the person you described as the driver of the Nissan motor vehicle on the 26th of December 2007? The brown man you described him as. Is that him?
Can't remember if his name.
Well, if I give the name John Perrymore, P-E-R-R-Y-M-O-R-E, does that help jog your memory that that photograph is John Perrymore?
Yes, I know him. If you mention the name, I can know he is it.
Now, putting the name to the face, can you recall that he was the driver of the Nissan motor vehicle that you described being outside the police station in Eldoret on the 26th of December?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in fact, you said that he's a Kalenjin. In fact, are you aware he's a South African national?
No, this one is not one. Then I don't know this one.
Are you aware, in fact, that his wife is Kikuyu?
I'm not aware.
Are you aware, in fact, that Mr. William Ruto himself has two sisters who are married to Kikuyus? Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware.
Are you aware that Mr. William Ruto has nephews who are half Kikuyu?
I don't aware about the details of the family of Mr. William Ruto.
Are you aware that one of Mr. William Ruto's chief campaigners in the 2007 election was a Kikuyu, Joseph Njoroge?
I don't know him, Njoroge.
You've never heard that name, Joseph Njoroge?
I've never.
Your Honour, I'll move on. Your Honour, I seek to
Is that
exhibit...
spelled correctly on the transcript? The last name?
I'm grateful. Njoroge. Yes, Njoroge is correct, and Joseph is correct.
Proceed.
I'm grateful. Mr. President, I'd ask to exhibit the photograph Ken D09-0043-0531.
Prosecution. Ms. Bossman.
No objection.
The prosecution does not object as well. That wasn't captured on the record. Now it is. The document is admitted as the next Ruto defense exhibit.
The public document KEN D09-0043-0531 will bear the number EVD T D09-00297.
I'm grateful. Witness, just a last question on that issue. Are you aware that the person who did all the sound system, sound engineering, loudspeaker setup for Mr. William Ruto in 2007 was somebody called Choma, C-H-O-M-A, known as Rasta Choma?
I don't know.
And he's a well-known Kikuyu. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of the people who are in the campaign team. What I was exactly talking about is the car was driven on that particular day. If I can remember, it was KR or KA or KG. I cannot forget the number, but actually it was driven. The person who was there was David Maswai.
Yes. Witness, in fact, there was a mistake on my part. I couldn't read my handwriting. It's not Choma. It's C-H-O-M-B-A, Chomba. Does that help jog your memory? Rasta Chomba.
Chomba is having a business of such a kind of giving out his stuff. I know Chomba.
And he does sound systems. And,
yes, I know about that.
And he's the person that actually, everywhere, when Mr. Ruto is speaking in the North Rift, you'll see a microphone with his name on it. He does all the work.
I cannot confirm that detail, but I know Chomba's doing those kind of things.
Yeah, and he's a Kikuyu, correct?
Yes, I know, but he's... yes, I know.
Yes. Now, Witness, we have about 25 minutes left. I'll try and do two subjects with you briefly before the end of the day. Now, you gave an account to the court that you went on the 1st of October 2005. A long time ago, 1st of October 2005, you went to Olungusi Market Square, and there you heard Mr. Ruto speak. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the event you describe at Olungusi Market Square, it's right, is it not, that members of the Kikuyu, Lua, Luya, as well as Kalenjin communities were all present? That's right, is it not?
I didn't object that there was no community there like Kikuyu.
Witness, if you could just try to answer yes or no, so it's clear.
Yes, Kikuyus are there, I cannot confirm that.
Kikuyus were there, Luas were there?
I don't know if Luas were there.
Luyas were there?
Some, yes, I know some Luyas.
And it's correct, is it not, Mr. Witness, that the North Rift, being a cosmopolitan society, many Kikuyus, Luas, Luyas, and others that have lived for decades in that part of the world, they know Kalenjin. Isn't that right?
Some of them know, some of them could not know.
Mr. Ken, watch out for the multi-barreled questions.
Grateful. For example, it's common knowledge in Kenya that Ken Wafula, he's a Luya, isn't he?
Yes.
And he knows Kalenjin, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Witness, are you aware that there was no report in 2005 of any inciting language levelled against Mr. William Ruto? Are you aware of that?
Maybe it was not reported.
Mr. President, you'll see at tab 2 we have a referendum report. I'm not going to go into that. That was done with the last witness by Dato Shamla Alagendra. Your Honour, I will simply, for the record, refer you to the paragraphs page 28 to 35 of that document dealing with incitement, page 39 to 42 dealing with hate speech, page 51 to 59 dealing with the use of unsavoury language. And Your Honours may recall that the only example of any criticism of Mr. Ruto was gender-insensitive language at page 61 when he says, "Don't be like women." And Your Honour, that's Ken D09 0042-0002. Your Honour, I'm not going to belabour the point as we can make submissions in due course. Witness, it's simply not the case, is it, that you heard any inciting language by Mr. William Ruto on the 1st of October 2005. That's simply not true, is it?
Why? It is true.
Your Honours, we can move on to another topic. And witness what you didn't speak about.
Maybe because it wasn't asked.
Repeat again the last question that you have just asked.
Mr. Witness, you gave an account to the prosecution about attending the Kotelel Samoy memorial event on the 19th of October 2005. Do you recall that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that was the centenary event of Kotelel Arab Samoy. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's Koitalel, Samoy, Samoei, Kotelel Samoy Memorial Day. And you told the prosecution that that was in presence of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you also say that the Honourable late Michuki was present.
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, he's known as the strong man of Kenyan internal security, isn't he?
I know as Michuki, yes. Your Honor.
A very tough minister, tackling crime, known for tackling crime strongly. Isn't that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say that Minister Mr. Kirua was present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kalenjin?
Yes.
The District Commissioner was present?
Yes.
The Provincial Commissioner was present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Many very senior and well-known people were all present on that day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Leading human rights activists like Maina Kiai were present, weren't they?
There were so many people, maybe it was.
Yes. Now, you tell the prosecution that you hear very inciting language by Mr. William Ruto on that day. Do you remember saying that?
Exactly, I remember.
Very inciting language. And, Your Honour, I'm going to go through some extracts, and at the end I will ask you some questions, witness. Your Honour, tab 3 of the prosecution's binder, Your Honours will find a interview of the 6th of August 2010, Ken OTP 0028-0389, and at 417, you say, for example, witness at line 963, that, and I quote, all the ministers who were for the government who wanted to talk on that day were not allowed to, because even when they started or were about to speak, the population said no, no, no. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
At 0418 over the page, at line 985, you say this, and I quote, yeah, ellipses, when Ruto spoke, he addressed all the communities, and using a very inciting language for each specific community. For example, when he addressed the Nandi, he told them that nobody could stand in front of the Nandi when they were about to do something. And then down below at lines 993, you continue, and I quote, and because we are commemorating his, ellipses, 100 years of his death, we must be prepared to die for the same cause, to fight for our rights. Remember saying that, witness?
I remember.
And then at 997 you say, and I quote, and when it comes to cast the vote for the referendum, we need to defeat this referendum and promote our rights. Remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Your Honours, at page 107, line 20, it should be Mr. Kirwa, Kirwa, not Mr. Kirua. I'm grateful. And witness, next page at 0420, you say at line 1058 to 1062 that on that day, it was to incite the Kalenjin community to fight. Remember saying that?
I remember that.
Yes, and then over the page, 0421, line 1077. Now, after that, ellipses, using the language, people would go out of the meeting and fight the way they never fought before. You continue, that's the language that we use when we want to fight. Do you remember saying that?
I don't know what, because I was referring using the word of Nandi.
Yes.
Maybe the way it was translated, I cannot.
But you said this, didn't you? That after, let me go from 1074. You say if somebody used that language.
Can we look at the screen? Let's post it.
Yes, we can, Your Honour. 0421, please. So, at the top of 0421, and I quote at line 1074, if somebody used that language, 1077, now, after that, ellipses, using that language, people would go out of that meeting and fight the way they never fought before. That's the language that we use when we want to fight. Remember saying that, Mr. Ruto, use the language that you use when you want to fight.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that people will fight like they've never fought before. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Your Honour, then, 0424, at line 1178, you said, and I quote, that when he was inciting each sub-tribe, he used some local languages. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Your Honours, if we then go to tab 4 of the OTP binder, which is Ken OTP-0028-0444, and I would seek to go to 0482. You say at line 1279, and I quote, talking about Mr. Ruto, witness, and I quote, and he encouraged people to continue that struggle and fight for our rights. He told people to be ready at 1283. At 1289, yeah, to be ready to fight for the land because foreigners were in good numbers in the area. Unquote. Witness, do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ruto saying, fight for our rights, there are foreigners in the area.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Grateful. 1289, I misspoke. Yeah, and I quote, yeah, to be ready to fight for the land because foreigners were in good numbers in the area. You recall saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then 0484, line 1348 and 1349, you say, quote, they are words that incite men to go to war without fear. And at 1354, these are words that bring people together as a community and go for war with courage and no fear, end quote. Remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then at 0488, you say this, at 1479, that Mr. Ruto, you say, and I quote, stated, and I quote, and we want you to expand this area and liberate us all, at 1484, and this is to call upon the Sabayot, S-A-B-A-O-T, to get rid of the Luyas, to get rid of them from the province. sorry, 1487 is a clarification from the investigator. And I quote, sorry, to get rid of them from the province, question mark, and you say at 1490, yes. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Ruto now telling people in that event, lawyers, get out of the area as well. Is that right? Is that right?
I was saying that you was using some not direct words.
But witness, you're told the prosecution, have I read it correctly, that you're saying Mr. Ruto is telling the crowd and that the Kalenjins expand this area, liberate us all, and get rid of the Luyas?
Yes, that's what he was using, directly, indirectly, using that word.
And I'll go to tab 5, Your Honours. At 049, tab 5 is KenOTP-0028-0495, that Mr. Ruto, at line 44, said, I call upon you to be ready to protect our land. At 47, and the expression that he used in Kinandi is a very strong word, and it's a very inciting word. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then at 0498, you say, at line 97, and I quote, in the beginning he indicated to get rid of the Kikuyu in the Rift Valley region. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it goes on at 0499. You emphasize again he means foreigners. When the investigator says at 112, you haven't said to me at all that he says get rid of the Kikuyus from the valley. And then you say it's foreigners. And at 0500, you say that when Mr. Ruto tells the audience to be ready, he means two things at line 153 and 154. And I quote, it says to me two things. First, to be ready to vote. Second, be ready to get out, ellipses, ellipses, to get rid of the people, ellipses, ellipses, from the phonetic, in square brackets, our area. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then we jump to 0508. And you say that Mr. Ruto was giving a message about guns. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say at 0508, at line 411, 409, that he says something, and I quote, about one of the subgroups, the Marakwets and Keos. And I quote, that ellipses, they have experience in something, and he didn't mean ellipses that directly because he wanted to say that people know how to handle guns in that community. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at 0509, line 443, you say, he went on to say, you are people who use things I don't need to mention here, end quote. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at 458, you say, sorry, at 456 you say, quote, everyone who came out of that place knew that he was reverse phonetic, referring to guns, but he didn't say that directly. Remember saying that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at the previous page, 0508, you also said this at 432 and lines 433, quote, you say Mr. Ruto says this, quote, you are powerful people and I know that you know how to handle this from your other experience, end quote. Remember saying all of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's completely made up, isn't it, witness? Completely fabricated, isn't it?
No, Your Honor, it's true.
You have a clear recollection under oath that Mr. William Ruto, on that event on the 19th of October 2005, was telling Luyas and Kikuyus to get out of the area?
I was saying that he was talking in a language that referred me. And that is what I say, Mr. Your Honor.
And the President is there, and the Minister for Internal Security, Honourable Michuki, is there. Mr. Kirwa is there, isn't he? He's a minister.
You never get even chance to talk.
Mr. Kirwa.
If the government had the powers, then we could have even those ministers to speak.
But,
and he was talking in a language that I could know that's inciting. So don't put in a language like to intimidate me. I'm meaning what I said.
Witness, Mr. Kirwa knows Nandi, doesn't he?
Yes, he knows, but exactly he never get even chance to speak.
Mr.
He could
Tarus.
not have powers.
Okay now.
He could not have even powers to speak that particular day, which means he has anything to do.
Witness, Mr. Tarus knows Nandi, doesn't he?
He knows, but he never speak even.
And none of them, to your best of your knowledge, whispered in the ear of the Minister of Internal Security and said a backbencher MP like Mr. William Ruto is inciting the crowd to kick out Kenyan citizens.
When he talk in a language that means that the community, doesn't mean that he's talking directly, and that's what I have been quoting in my talk.
Your Honor, I asked to play the video. Your Honor, I'd asked to play the video with the court's leave.
It's 4 o'clock.
Your Honor, could we stay for 10 minutes and finish this topic? I think it would be an appropriate place, given we've gone through the witness's account of incitement by William Ruto, and we have a video of the full speech of William Ruto, about 8 minutes or thereabouts, maybe less than that. And, Your Honor, that would be a proper place, we say, to finish the day. Your Honor, otherwise I have to go through some of the same territory tomorrow.
We can take it up tomorrow at 9:30.
Your Honor, so be it. I'm
Yes.
grateful.
Witness, there is no need for you to feel intimidated by the question of the lawyer. You just need to listen carefully to the questions and answer those questions one by one. Do you understand?
I was saying he's trying to see me with big eyes.
All right. It doesn't. Just you are in court now, and the judges are here. We do not allow witnesses to be treated unfairly. Keep that in mind. We will take our adjournment for the day now, and we start again. We'll reconvene again tomorrow at 9:30. Do not discuss your testimony with anyone overnight. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. We will go into closed session to let the witness out of the courtroom. And we adjourn after that.